Okay, good evening, and thank you everyone for being here. It's 7 o'clock. Let's get started. So, the topic today, painting Ma Rainey, the mother of blues. And I'm going to take you through a quick presentation before I go on to the actual painting. So, who was Ma Rainey? Who was Ma Rainey? Well, her official name was Gertrude Pridgett. She was born somewhere between 1882 and 1886 and died December 22nd, 1939. She was born in Columbus, Georgia, and she's one of the earliest African-American professional blues singers. She recorded blues music, so one of the first back in the 1920s. She began performing as a teenager and became known as Ma Rainey after her marriage to Will Pa Rainey in 1904. And they toured around Chicago and these areas and throughout the South as well with the Rabbit Foot Minstrels, and later formed their own group, Rainey and Rainey Assassinators of the Blues. So her first recording, probably after she got divorced, it was around 1923. She first started recording her songs, and for about 5 years she made over 100 recordings, so quite a prolific songwriter and singer. Some of her favorite works included Boll Weevil Blues, Moonshine Blues, C.C. Rider Blues, Ma Rainey's Black Bottom, and that title, you should be familiar with it because that was the title of a recent movie in 2020, and then another song, Soon This Morning. Later in her career, Ma Rainey also recorded with Thomas Dorsey and Louis Armstrong. She toured and recorded with the Georgia Jazz Band, and up to 1935, they say that's when she officially stopped touring. But even during retirement, she opened 3 theaters in Columbus, Georgia, until she died at age 53. So she was still busy during retirement from singing on the road. Now I came to know about Ma Rainey last year, and I think many of us got to know about Ma Rainey because of that big film that was produced by Denzel Washington, based on a play by August Wilson. The play was set in Chicago in the 1920s, right? And Violet Davis played Ma Rainey. Chadwick Boseman, he played another important character, a trumpet player in her band. So a lot of us became aware of Ma Rainey because of that Netflix film in 2020. A few references here, and I'll put them in the chat box because there's a lot of history being told now about her life and her music on YouTube. So I have quite a few references here. Now the painting process, I'm going to stop sharing. I'll stop sharing my screen. Yes, hello. I hope people can come back in. We had an unexpected crash on the platform. So come back to the show, everybody. Hello. For those who missed my introduction, of the earliest African American, and she recorded over 100 songs back in the 1920s, and so she got the title of Mother of the Blues. So we all became familiar with Ma Rainey and her work because of that film that was produced by Denzel Washington called Ma Rainey's Black Bottom. It was produced last year, and it was the last film that Chadwick Boseman actually performed in. So very popular at the end of 2020, and that was when I became aware of Ma Rainey and the significance of her music. She literally started blues, you know, that down south blues, and then she moved to the north, Chicago, and spread the music up there. So very colorful history. Now, a friend of mine gave me a challenge. You know, I've been painting jazz musicians for the past 2 years, and so she said, well, why not paint Ma Rainey? And I thought, oh, that would be an excellent idea. So I did a little bit of research about her life, and I decided to start the canvas and start the process. So you can see behind me I have a canvas 48 inches by 60 inches. So just got it started and putting down the background. And what I usually do when I start painting, I would research the characters. Sometimes I use information from real life situations, photographs, videos, etc. And I use that accumulated information as a reference for my painting. So with Ma Rainey, I collected lots of photographs. You know, online you'd see photographs in black and white, photographs of Ma Rainey with her band. And the band would usually be 5 musicians. So you have the trombonist, trumpeter, saxophonist, 1 person on the drums, and 1 person on piano. So 5 musicians. So that's what I'm going to do. 5 musicians and Ma Rainey. And I'm going to also sneak in Bessie Smith. Now, it is said she had a relationship with Bessie Smith. So with that little bit of history, we're actually going to have to put in Bessie Smith somewhere in the painting. In the shadows, in the forefront, I haven't decided yet. But I'm going to work on that. Okay. So I had several ideas, and when I do a painting, I usually do the background, then I sketch on the characters and their musical instruments. And in the last 2 years, I've been doing paintings of people with no faces. So musicians without faces. Why? Because I would like the viewer to actually formulate what he or she thinks the musician is feeling. So you look at the instruments, you look at the body language, and then you imagine what the musician is thinking and feeling. And then you feel the music too. So you get to interpret. Everything is not as laid out to you literally. You get to interpret the image that is presented in front of you. So I had 2 ideas for the presentation on the canvas. 2 ideas to sketch, and I need some help from the audience here this evening. So one idea, and I did a sketch with Ma Rainey and just Ma Rainey and the band. So the 5 musicians, right? So that's one idea. You know, you have her with her big fan of feathers. You have the pianist, the saxophonist, trumpeter, etc. And it's a theater scene, so you have some people looking up at the stage, right? So that's one idea that I had, a theater scene. Another idea was actually at a club of some sort. So people are sitting at tables, having a drink, and the band is performing on the stage. Now, if you think of the 1920s, it was a time when there were speakeasies. So people would be hush-hush because there was prohibition. You're not supposed to be drinking alcohol. So people would go into these so-called speakeasies, hidden places, to drink alcohol illegally. So I am not quite sure if the speakeasies would have had live performances. I know there were theaters with live performances, but I'm not quite sure if the speakeasies would have had live performances. Does anybody know? Let me see. Anybody in the audience here can tell me, do you know if the speakeasies had live performances back in the 1920s? Put it in the chat box if you know. I'm not quite sure if they did. However, for our purposes, with this canvas, and because it is fantasy, I can still put in the live performers at the club. The thing with doing that is that we're going to have the opportunity to show the flappers, you know, in their lovely clothes, with the beads and the pearls and the head ties and all that. So it's well worth putting in an audience because you'll get to play with some colors and people and styles and all that, as well as putting the band. So I'd like you all to tell me, which one do you think I should sketch? Because I still don't know. Should I just do the theater scene with Ma Rainey and her musicians and the audience looking up? Or should I do a club scene where you have people in the audience, you have Ma Rainey and her band on stage? So I'm putting it to the vote. Everybody is here. Tell me what you think I should do. Let me see. Okay, so Claire likes both sketches. It's very hard to decide. I like both sketches too, but I can't decide. So I want the audience to help me with that. Anybody else? What's a comment? Okay, Sharon says do the club scene. The club scene. Okay, so we have to say do the club scene. The club scene. Okay. I guess the club scene wins because, you know, that would be really a good one to do because we get to, as I said, we get to and, you know, they would have been in uniform with just maybe the photographs that we have of her, and they're in black and white. So I'm not quite sure what color the musicians wore, but it was probably just plain black suits. So if we do the club scene, then I'll get to add some nice clothes for the audience. And you know, the ladies, the flappers back in the day, they would have lovely head ties, they'd have pearls and shiny feathers in the hair, etc. So that would be some nice fun. Well, thank you. That was one thing sorted out. So we've decided on the club scene. The next thing I have to decide on would be the no, I can't do, every time I share the screen we get kicked out, so I'm afraid to share the screen. But in a lot of the pictures that I looked at, there were either red velvet. If you see my drapes here, can you all see the drapes? So a bit of red velvet and gold trim. Now I looked at quite a few photographs of the theater scenes, and there were thick, heavy curtains at the back, or drapes, for the theater. So I was thinking either brown with gold trim or maroon with gold trim, kind of like the drapes I have here at my studio. So what do people think, you know, like for the back? Because that would determine, you know, I started just putting the background, but then I stopped because I wasn't sure if I was going to do the club scene or not. So I stopped with the background. But since we decided on the club scene, I'm going to put, you know, like the edge of the stage. And then at the edge of the stage, there would be some fabric, right? Fabric hanging down here, and then the tables. So I have to do it in layers, layer upon layer. First we put just the background, sketch. I like to sketch the instruments first, then put the people, because I figure if I place the instruments, then I could put hands over the saxophone, and you know, I just like to do the instruments and then put the people manipulating the instruments after. But what I would do as well too, I would block colors. So let's say we've decided we would put maroon, the maroon drapes as a background. I would do a block of color first of maroon, then I'll do a color for the stage. I will do color for the fabric trim here, and then, you know, like the ground, the floor here in the club. So I'll just do that layer first and block the colors, sketch over it, the instruments, sometimes painting on the instruments, then the people. Right here I would sketch the tables and paint on the tables, then the people leaning, you know, leaning on the table or holding a drink up, etc. So I do a simple blocking of colors first, then simple blocking of people and objects, then last of all put in the details. So in doing the painting, you know, even if I start today, I'm not going to get very far. It will take days of layers and layers, sometimes readjusting and pivoting if the layer doesn't work out. So it just depends. Does anyone have any question so far? Let's see the comments here. Maroon and gold. All right, the maroon and gold wins. I like that to myself, but I had to ask. Any questions about my process? Anybody has a question? All right. So I'm going to do a little sketching now. And I'm going to follow this guide that I put together because you know, I would do a small version and then sketch on the big canvas, because that helps me to stay on track, right? So while I sketch, I'm going to put on a little bit of music that I found online. They call it blues, but this would be more modern blues than what Ma Rainey was famous for. Now, I don't have royalty-free blues from way back then, so this is what I have. I'm going to put Ma Rainey in the middle, and she used to have she would sing with a big fan made of feathers, peacock feathers and other nice feathers. So I'm going to put her as the focal point in the painting. So she'll be right in the middle. And I like to put a piano, you know, in many photographs of her band, they have the piano off to the side. But I would put a baby grand in the middle, and she's standing in front of the baby grand piano. And then the musicians on the other side. That's how I prefer to do it. Now she was on the bigger side. So, quite a robust singer. Not the typical petite or skinny singer like some others. And in the 20s, the dresses were straight down, no waistline, you know, so they were just straight. Of course, they were embellished with lots of sequins, and they were made pretty in other ways, but I call them tent dresses. Now, in terms of getting the stage, I'm going to use painter's tape. So I'll get a straight line. This will be the edge of the stage here. If I want a straight line, I have to use some tape. So what I can do is put the tape on. And I will paint the frill at the base of the stage. Then I can always remove the tape and paint the floor of the stage. I'm just trying to get a perspective of where she will stand in relation to the other musicians. Now, for those who have Instagram every day and on Facebook too, please add me and follow me at by Jennylynd James. I'm going to put updates as to where I reach with the painting, because I'll just do a little bit every day and you can see how it's progressing. So please add me on Instagram at by Jennylynd James, or you can follow here on my page at by Jennylynd James, and you'll see the progress with the painting, because it takes a long time to get it just right. So tonight we're just kind of estimating where everything's going, and then tomorrow I'll do some actual painting. A lot of the work is preparation. Prepare and prepare and prepare, and then after preparing, then I paint. So it takes a while. Sometimes too, if I don't like exactly what it looks like, I probably paint over it. I'm painting in acrylic, so it's possible to make corrections with acrylic. It's a very acrylic is a very forgiving medium to use. I like this tape because I can't draw a straight line to save my life, you know, it would never come out straight. So the tape helps a lot. Right, so that would be the fringe of the stage. I'm going to put some more this part here. Right. Okay. Now, if you think of the back of the stage, I did a little sketch of Ma Rainey here in the middle. So the drapes at the back, I have to put those in, so probably around this point. Okay, so I am going to put some tape where I plan to paint the drapes as well. So as I say, a lot of the work in doing the painting would be preparation and just setting up areas for the blocks of color. Let me see. I might extend it a little bit, just above this line here. Yeah. So after I put the blocks of color, then I will actually continue sketching the characters in their respective places. might actually use a ruler. Sometimes that helps, right? Oh, 10.5. What can you say? Gotta bring it down a little bit. Gotta bring it down a bit. Working with this large size, you have to bring some math into it as well, otherwise things would be way off. So let me the good news with the tape is that you can just adjust it as you go along. Let's see. I'll pop that me up. Right, so I know this part is not the most exciting, but does anyone have any questions? Let me see who's here. So we said we're going to do a maroon and gold background. In terms of the people who will be sitting at the tables, I'm going to put men and women. Now I looked online to see the color of clothing that people used to wear, the flappers in particular. So I had some notes here for the women. The women wore peach, gray, blue, rose, yellow, sand, black. So I have a nice peach. I'll show you all. This is a nice peach that I was thinking of using for one of the dresses. And then I also had this one. Now I'm not sure if in this light you're seeing the color, but these are some nice peach and salmon ones I could use for one of the ladies. And then in terms of yellow, I was going to do a yellow ochre, so not a bright yellow, but yellow ochre is more like yellow and brown mix. So that's a nice one for a dress. A gray, of course, but I'm going to put some gray glitter. So I have not just a plain gray dress, but I have some glitter to add over the gray to give it a little fun and shimmer. And then even for if I do a rose colored dress, I also have some nice glittery pink to put over it, and I've done that in previous paintings. I did a series of paintings of Josephine Baker and the flappers, and I really enjoyed doing flapper dresses, you know, just putting a colored base and then using the glitter over it. That was a lot of fun. And let's see, for the men, they say, well, the men wore dark colors, so navy, gray, green, and brown. So for the band, I think I'll just do maybe dark gray suits for the band. But the men in the club, then we'll experiment and do a few. I have a nice dark green suit, and brown, of course, because I wouldn't want to put the men in the same color suits as the band. We have to have some contrast. So I put a dark green, brown, and yeah, probably a gray suit, right? Just to have some different colors in there, the band. And for the ladies, of course, I'll put pearls and headbands and feathers in the hair. So it's a lot to kind of dream over, but anybody has any questions or any suggestions, put it in the chat box. So I'm going to do a lot of planning and painting over the next few days, and as I said, every day I'll post the progress, because it's a little slow. But what I'll do, I'll invite everyone back for the day when I put the finishing touches. Now, if I work on it every single day this week, next Friday I might just be finished, and I'll invite everybody to see the final product. And I'll put let's see, Sharon said, oh yes, couples with matching clothes. Oh, that's a great idea. That's a great idea. So I might just do that. Couples with matching clothing. That's a good idea. Any other comment for me? Any other ideas you think I might add? Yes, so if not, I am going to just continue working on this every day. And as I said, I will post my progress here on Art by Jennylynd James. So please, please add yourself to subscribe to my Art by Jennylynd James Facebook page. And also my Instagram page, Art by Jennylynd James. So you'll see the updates. And I'll invite you back next Friday to see the finished work, because I'm going to work on this every day this week so I can do it. So let's see, if we have no more questions or comments, I'm going to end it right here. Okay, and I'll invite everyone back next week. So thanks so much for showing up. It's just the beginning, but it takes a long time, many hours, but I'll work at it systematically. Okay, thanks everybody. So I'll see you next week. Take care. Bye-bye. Thanks for coming. Check out my other paintings. I'm going to give you the link where you can see some of the other musically inspired paintings. I'm going to put a link in the chat box. There you will see all my Josephine and the Flappers, and some characters kind of like the ones I'm going to paint on this. So check out this link in the chat box, and you will see some other musical paintings that I did last year. Right, so you see the link, JennylyndJames.pixels.com. Take a look at the paintings there, and you will see I've done quite a few musical inspired paintings, some 1920s style flappers, Josephine Baker, quite a few of them. Okay, well, thanks again for coming. Good night all, and I'll see you next week. Bye.